Mysteries of Antarctica. Mysterious disappearances, UFO encounters, and rumors of an underground alien civilization. We've all heard stories about how cold it is at the South Pole and how Antarctica is still shrouded in mystery. Few people had the courage to explore this land where temperatures reach -80 degrees Celsius. There are people who call this land the snow desert where polar animals live. Each of these beings managed to adapt to the weather conditions and survive here. For us Romanians, it would be a sudden change in temperature, and we would hardly manage to adapt and spend a few days here. At the same time, it would be a unique experience because all around we will see the landscapes created by the cold and snow. Because it is a land covered in ice and snow, stories have been told over time that happened here that have not yet been fully proven. It is said that here in the past it was not so cold and that there were people who populated the land. The disputants claim that the land disappeared when the Earth collided with a huge celestial body. Then our planet suffered a displacement of the axis of rotation, and these lands were positioned at a great distance from the sun. Because the sun's rays and the heat produced by it no longer managed to reach this land in normal parameters, everything started to freeze. We can't help but wonder what the people here used to look like and what their lifestyle was like. Lake Vostok is one of the lakes discovered under the ice cap. The surprising thing is that its water is sweet and that there are others similar to it. It is the largest of them, and the researchers were surprised that the water had no contact with the surface for millions of years. Everyone goes with the idea that somewhere in the heart of the Earth there is another yet undiscovered civilization. And if she is no longer alive, her traces will surely be seen. Lake Vostok was discovered in the 70s by means of photographs taken of the land with the help of a satellite. Researchers are still searching to discover the remains of the Antarctic civilization from its beginnings. At the same time, it is said that there are ice monsters here that live in the galleries under the cap, and that they have formed galleries that allow them to move underground. The story began when a member of a team of brawlers got lost from the group in 1960. When the team went to look for him, they stopped in front of a hole in the ice. Looking into the darkness, they had the impression that they saw a man's hand. So they went down with ropes, and at the bottom of the chasm they found the missing man's glove surrounded by bloodstains. Only his body could not be found. But when they were down, they could see the galleries going underground. After the disappearance of their colleague, another disappeared. The explorer A. Horowitz, present in that expedition, told that they found the clothes of the latter as if the body had evaporated. He also claims that one night he saw a flying creature flying around their camp and that he chased it away with a few shots fired with a pistol. No one will ever know what was really there, but it is certain that the disappearances were mysterious. During the Second World War, Antarctica had become a real El Dorado for the Nazis. It is not known what Hitler's people were looking for in its frozen expanses, but when the Americans found out about this, they organized an expedition to Antarctica, sending there a huge fleet. The program was called Operation High Jump and included 10 warships, 2 icebreakers, and the SS-408 Senate submarine. A total of 4,700 people took part in the expedition, the purpose of which is still being kept secret by the U.S. military. In 1947, the results of the American expedition were made public by journalist Lee Van Atta, an employee of the Chilean newspaper El Mercurio in Santiago. The article explained why Admiral Richard Byrd, commander of Operation High Jump, canceled the expedition. The admiral explained that he was not trying to scare anyone, but the harsh reality is that in the event of a new war, the United States could be attacked by aircraft flying over one or both poles. This statement was made as part of a recap of his own polar experience in an interview. Speaking about the expedition, Byrd says the most important result of his observations and findings is the potential effect they have on the security of the United States. The fantastic speed with which the world is shrinking, the admiral recalled, is one of the most important lessons learned during Antarctic exploration. I must warn my countrymen that the time is over when we could take refuge in our isolation and rely on the certainty that distances, oceans, and poles were a guarantee of safety, Byrd said. Byrd's shocking statement. Beyond security concerns, Byrd went down in history with an incredible account of his expedition. Admiral Richard Byrd reportedly wrote about his encounter with a lost civilization during his expedition to the South Pole. According to his secret note, he encountered the ancient race underground and witnessed a huge base of animals and plants that were previously thought to be extinct. Among the animals he saw were mammoth-like creatures. Byrd's plane was commandeered in the air and landed for him by people from the center of the Earth who intercepted his plane with saucer-shaped devices. Upon landing, he was met by emissaries of a civilization many assumed to be the mythical Agartha. These alleged Agarthians expressed concern about mankind's use of atomic bombs during World War II and hired Byrd as their ambassador to return to the U.S. government and convey their sentiment, reported the Gaia Portal about Byrd's expedition. Admiral Byrd wrote in his diary on March 11, 1947, "I just attended a staff meeting at the Pentagon. I stated at length my discovery and the message from the master. Everything is properly recorded. The president has been informed. Now I'm on hold for a few hours, 6 hours and 39 minutes, to be exact. I am being thoroughly interrogated by top security forces and a medical team. It was an ordeal. I am placed under strict control through the national security provisions of the United States of America. I am ordered to remain silent on all that I have learned, in the name of humanity. Incredible. I am reminded that I am a soldier and must obey orders. Underground civilization." Interestingly, in 1970, the U.S. Environmental Science Service Administration, ESSA, published satellite images of the South Pole, in which one photo showed a perfectly rounded hole above Antarctica. This has led conspiracy theorists to believe in the existence of underground civilizations. The underworld is sometimes associated with Agartha. Interestingly, there are some mentions of the underworld in various ancient cultures. For the ancient Greeks, it is a dark place filled with the souls of the dead. In Judaism, it is known as Sheol. Additionally, ancient alien theorists strongly believe that the Himalayan region of southwestern Tibet may have had a secret entrance to a mythical underground city known as Shambhala. Antarctic mysticism. Beyond these speculations, it is certain that Antarctica has always been an enigma. In 1912, Robert Scott's expedition disappeared into the snow, and one of its members, named Lawrence Oates, simply walked into the night from his tent, never to return. According to some accounts, there was another mystery in this expedition. One day, when Scott's men were sure that they would die of hunger, at night food mysteriously appeared near the tent, canned meat and frozen apricots. This allowed Scott and his men to stay alive for a little while longer, but it did not save them from death. In 1914, the Australian scientific research vessel S.Y. Endeavour disappeared off the coast of Macquarie Island with a crew and 21 Australian experts on board. Between 1957 and 1961, 3 American airliners crashed in Antarctica, killing 12 people. In 1965, the American geophysicist Carl Dish disappeared, and 3 Englishmen disappeared at the Holly Bay Station. In 1966, an American airliner crashed, killing 6 people. Scott's expedition to Antarctica. In 1959, a Soviet expedition based at the Mirny Polar Station in Antarctica sent a group of 8 researchers to Antarctica, and the group's goal was to reach the South Magnetic Pole. Only 3 people returned from the group sent. According to the official version, the cause of the tragedy was severe frost and a storm, as well as the failure of the engine of an all-terrain vehicle. Later, the Soviet polar explorer Yuri Korshunov, in a conversation with a reporter, explained what happened to the expedition to the polar station. Korshunov was one of those participants who returned from a trip to the magnetic pole. According to the polar explorer, the group was attacked by luminous flying objects that resembled some disks, and an attempt to photograph an anomalous phenomenon ended badly, as their cameras were destroyed by a beam sent by a flying object. Those who tried to repel the attack with shotguns were also struck by that object's rays and died. The reporter did not have time to publish the collected materials, as the sudden death of Yuri Korshunov prevented this. The pyramids of Antarctica. Are there really pyramids in Antarctica? In recent years, numerous images have emerged suggesting that there are numerous pyramids of considerable size in Antarctica. These pyramids are hidden under the ice sheet, and with global warming, certain details of them have come to light. This theory is refuted by scientists who claim that these alleged pyramids do not really exist. The truth on this subject is disputed, and no one really knows what it is. Mystery. Controversial Antarctica, pyramids, bizarre maps, UFOs, and alleged secret bases. Antarctica is a mysterious continent around which many controversies have arisen. The puzzles revolve around the maps, which show the ice-free continent, the hidden pyramids. 05154. Facebook, Twitter. Controversial Antarctica, pyramids, bizarre maps, UFOs, and alleged secret bases. What is happening in Antarctica? Scientists characterized the frozen continent as a real-time capsule. Many secrets of the Earth are hidden in the thick layer of ice. Over time, numerous theories, some more controversial, tried to explain the anomalies in Antarctica. What lies beneath the thick ice, and how did people of the past know that Antarctica was once green? These two questions are perhaps the key to a continent still not fully understood. Pyramids of Antarctica. Are there really pyramids in Antarctica? In recent years, numerous images have emerged suggesting that there are numerous pyramids of considerable size in Antarctica. These pyramids are hidden under the ice sheet, and with global warming, certain details of them have come to light. This theory is refuted by scientists who claim that these alleged pyramids do not really exist. The truth on this subject is disputed, and no one really knows what it is. Weird maps. One of the most suggestive maps is that of Piri Reis. The map was made in 1513 on gazelle skin by a Turkish admiral, former pirate, named Piri Reis. Traces of the map were lost for 400 years, its discovery causing a sensation at the time. Historians and cartographers alike were first interested in the inscription, which showed that it had been drawn from the sketches of Christopher Columbus. How was this possible? It is possible that the Turkish admiral copied it from an older map found somewhere in his travels. It is interesting that the map in question shows the borders of Antarctica without ice. The map was designed with a specialized method that projects the round Earth in flat form. The whole of South America and the Atlantic and the Pacific coast also appear. These things intrigued most of the specialists, and in 1960, Professor Charles Hapgood approached the U.S. Air Force to see if such a thing was possible. The results of the research were spectacular because it was concluded that the map from which Piri Reis copied his was made before the Antarctic freeze. This event is estimated to have taken place about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, when the borders of the continent were visible.